Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Maize Mad Man. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like button, share this with your friends and family on social media, and abound. And of course, subscribe. Today, we have former Michigan defensive lineman Terrence Taylor describing the transition from legendary Michigan coach Lloyd Carr to Rich Rodriguez and the alleged tension there, all that, and of course, I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully, but disrespectfully, it's disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans, poor little girl, them. And I'm gonna tell them why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus, the other state, and of course, as always, I'm upset.
Yeah.
I want to listen. You don't have to say any names, or you don't have to dig deep if you don't want to. You don't feel comfortable doing that. But there have been some rumors around that transition, right? The Lloyd Carr to Rich Rod transition, and we wouldn't be doing our duty if we didn't ask these questions. There are rumors, though, that a certain coach kind of handcuffed the other coach with politics, if you will, at the top. Do you know anything about that, or is that true even to your knowledge?
You sparing names? Who was the coach?
All right. I mean,
what are you doing?
Let's do it. All right.
Lloyd Carr.
You're gonna ask me a question.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it. So the rumors are Lloyd Carr didn't exactly help Rich Rod, and even may have hindered him to a certain degree during that transition. What do you say about
you got the head coaching job? You getting millions as to be the head coach at University of Michigan. What more help? You have to bring in your whole coaching staff from Virginia. What more help? How could he hinder you? You're already in there.
Right.
I didn't see that. I saw a coach bringing in coaching staffs that didn't know where they were. This is not Virginia. This is Michigan. And if you don't understand how big Michigan is, then you don't know Michigan. If you don't understand the fan base here and the excellence, that you don't understand Michigan, right? Like you don't understand it. This is the one Virginia Tech. And they came in there with that mind. They'll run spread. I mean, my defensive line coach was a wide receiver coach at West Virginia. Like, he was a defensive line coach. This is Michigan. I just got Steve Stripling, one of the best D-line coaches I've had in my life, to that. You know what I mean? Like, you had, like, it was just it was weird.
Yeah.
Right. And trying to give us speeches in the locker room before the game to hype us up. This is Michigan. If you can't get hype, sit in that locker room, and the hype will start when you come out that door, you hit that, and you start walking down that tunnel, right? And you start breaching that tunnel, and those fans, you never experienced this before. You don't need somebody like, we're gonna win this game. You don't need that at Michigan. This whole situation is hype. You know what I mean? You get me worked up. It's just the whole situation is hype. And so
you're ready to run through the wall,
let's do it.
And so no one hindered him. That man walked in there and didn't really process where he was. Thought he was leagues above. I mean, he gave up the freshman recruit number one. Y'all remember that? When he gave it, the alumni got upset.
Yep.
Coach Carr didn't do that. Right? You know what I mean? Like, he gave him the number one, not knowing the history of number one. Respect comes behind that. Just because you're a good high school player doesn't mean you come to Michigan and get number one, where only a handful of people have worn. Right. And so it's mistakes like that show you can change your ringtone to Michigan fight song, but they don't make you a Michigan man. You know, that man ruined my senior year. And he ruined my senior year at Michigan, right? Because he just ruined, like, we were running a 3-4 in the Big Ten against Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know what the Big Ten is, right? I mean, everybody in here should know, the fans should know what go here, yeah. And so you're relying on linebackers like that. Everybody's running spread, but when they put them hogs on and run, it's a problem. Lucky I'm a dog. We had dogs, but there's only so much you can do. They wanted me in a 2-point stand with my hands off the ground to just come off instead of a 3-point or a 4-point. It was a lot of nuances that throughout that year that made me and all of us shake our head. And I remember we lost to Michigan State, and me, Tim are sitting next to each other, and he says, For you seniors, you beat them 3 years in a row. For your underclassmen, you get another chance next year. And I remember I looked at Tim and I said, man, I feel bad for these kids coming up, like the younger classmen and the people. That's not the mentality at Michigan. It's not okay to lose at Michigan State.
Never.
Don't make me feel good about it. When the standard goes, then you saw what happened to Michigan for those years, right?
Right.
That's when the standard goes. And they don't understand the standard and the things that come behind that wing helmet. That's what happened to Michigan.
Yeah.
Now I remember going back. I didn't go back to Michigan after I left for like 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
And I remember a lot of guys didn't do that. I remember walking into Shattenkirk Hall and they at the front desk was like, "Hey Terrence, you tell everybody to come back. It's different around here." This was when Brady Holt got there.
Right,
it's different around here. And tell everybody to come back. It's different. Nobody wants to come back. So to answer your question, that's what was going on. And you can ask me anything you want. I'm not gonna hold. I mean,
yes, sir. Yeah. Maniac, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Just one more thing regarding that season, Terrence. So unfortunately, you guys had a 3-9 season. Now, who was, during that time, how was the locker room? Were you one of the leaders in that locker room? Was it a separation in that locker room? How was the energy in that locker room, man? Because like you said, this ain't Michigan. 3-9, absolutely not. So, talk to us, walk us through that a little bit.
You see that Washington Miracle comeback, right?
Yeah, I love that.
I just saw that. Unbelievable, right? So that's still on. That still plays on the Big Ten with the games.
Yeah.
The in the locker room wasn't like you become a family. You know what I mean? But at that point in time, like you all you have is each other. When you're 3-9 at Michigan, like so many people are waiting for you to fail, and all you have is your brothers. Especially if you've been there from years. And now you know how Michigan was to what's happening now. Not the freshmen that came in, they don't know. But for the sophomores and juniors, for BG and all Brandon Graham and them guys, like they knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we stayed together. Dropping that the Wisconsin game, we were losing that game going into halftime.
Yeah, getting blown out.
And you get some players on here that was in that locker room with me, and they'll tell you a funny story about it, what my speech was. And I'll tell you here because no one really knows. But then
let's do it. Exclusive.
And they had a thing. It really is because a lot of things stay. And I remember they had a saying, "Come on, hold the rope." Right? That's what Rich Widener said. Hold the rope, hold the rope. And I remember I'm coming in the locker room and offensive line. I'm not black and white. People are not. And I remember going there. I'm like, you motherfuckers talking about hold the rope. I'm over cussing people out. You talking about hold the rope? Y'all hold your these fucking nuts, right? And so you hold these fucking nuts. And we went out and we won. We came back and won, right?
Right.
I go into the meeting room to do the interviews, and there was like, such and such, and a couple players said you gave a very thrilling speech in the locker room to boosted the comeback. Could you tell us what it was? I'm like, I can't really tell you what it was. It was a lot of other stuff. I couldn't tell you what it was. But that's for people that want to know. That's what I said. It was hold these nuts. Talking about hold these ropes, right? And meaning just hold your nuts. Like you talking about all these metaphors and all this stuff, right? Be a man. Like this is Michigan. Hold your nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that was a great comeback. I think that was the largest comeback in Michigan history or something like that. I'm not sure if it's to this day, but I mean, some things that came out of that season. I mean, the brotherhood, the connection, stuff like that. It was a terrible season for a real Michigan man and real Michigan fans. Right? It was a bad season, and you saw the outcome of that years down the line until Harbaugh came in and did his thing, right? And it took time, and that's what it takes is time. And so, I've always loved Michigan. I'm always gonna love Michigan.
Absolutely. Really, really quick, just BWG became a member. You should become a member. And he low key gifted one Maize Madman membership. So be sure to thank him in the comment section. Terrence, by the way, love your insight, man, and this is great. And raw, right? Like everybody wants to be buttoned up, but this is the best, right? The fans are getting great insight here. So let's talk about let's talk about, obviously, after that season, you get drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, I believe.
Yeah.
Do you think that senior year and Michigan being 3-9 hindered, your draft stock? And what what do you got to say about that, man?
Yeah, I mean that's common sense. Yeah, I mean going into my senior year, I was up for like defensive awards
Right.
and things like that, and like I told you, it was a gamble. Like I just came off, I just had 2 really good years. You know what I mean? Like, and I was respected. I mean, at my junior year, I was the first defensive tackles since 1997 and record 50 plus tackles in a season. I had 55, and so I was, I had a good season, and so it was a big thing coming back. But it hurt. I mean, when I went to the combine, all that stuff kind of went away, right? And then when I went to the combine, I won the 225 test there. Putting on for Michigan, I did 37 reps. What people don't know is that like months before, I tore my pec muscle.
Wow.
Messing around in the weight room with the guys and not warming up, hitting 315 for sets of 10, and I ripped my pec muscle. I came back for that. So when I did that 225 test, man, I was, even training for that was I don't know, I felt weird about it, But I went out there and I did that, right, and I put myself on display. And you talk to coaches, and they ask you the production you had your junior year, why didn't you have the production in senior year? They teach you when you go into, you training for the combine, how to answer them, do the interviews and stuff like that. They don't want to hear excuses. They want to hear you say, right. Oh, the coaches put me in a 3-4. They wanted me in a 2-point with my hands up. I mean, like, they had people behind me that what, it's just like, you can't say none of that stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like, you just say, hey, I just didn't perform like I needed to, and there's things I could have did better. And they don't want to hear excuses. They don't want to hear the truth. You know what I mean? No one wants to hear the truth. They just want, even when it's the truth, you can still tell things that you can improve on. But I ended up getting drafted to the Colts in the 4th round, and it was kind of a fit. But like I remember, they were more of a pass rush. Coming from the Big Ten, I did a lot of pass rush, but I didn't do that too much pass rush, right? And I just remember the difference in the NFL to college was just the brotherhood, right? You know what I mean? Like you have a wife and kids, so you go home after practice, right? It's not a lot of team like that kind of building that. It's a business now, right? And more so of a business now up front. And so it was kind of a adjustment. I remember being in the team room, defensive team room, and I said, "Hey, coach, can I get a playbook? Because I wanted to go over the plays, so I had him." And he's just, everybody, Taylor wants a playbook. You just sit there and you just wait for, It was stuff like that. It was a lot of things in that, but no excuses to the things, the opportunities that you get. You know what I mean? But it was definitely a transition. And I spent time with the Colts, Lions, and Panthers. Got to play with some guys and end up transferring over to the AFL for the kind of rest of my year for that 11-year career that I had. And through it all, just kind of remained a dog. I've always been that kind of player. I'm not, just giving myself my flowers. I've always been that kind of player of just being a dog, no matter what stage I was on. Put me in the right situation, and I can show you. And so I had a great career. I met a lot of guys and great friends to this day, and just a lot of relationships and a lot of great memories, and a lot of lessons, right? So now what I do now is train kids and help them, excel in their sport, but not just in their sport, in their life. And I could teach them about my successes and my failures, right? And so that was one of the biggest things growing up, that I had people around me that told me about their failures and about their success, and also giving opportunities. And so kind of all came full circle for me. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Talk to me in the comment section. What do you think of what Terrence had to say? Let's have a discussion. Be sure to follow me everywhere at Maize Madman. And of course, the slogan, stay angry, my friends. I'm upset.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be our best season ever. My ratings, they're about to go through the roof.
All right, now I'ma calm down. So I just don't get that all that Maize and that lock and all that. I just don't get it. And how the
Oh my God, we're shutting the damn live down. Good night, everybody.